The true story of the Sphinx's missing nose. It's a tale that involves a medieval cleric, a persistent myth, and the relentless forces of nature. The short and definitive answer is that Napoleon and his troops did not destroy the Sphinx's nose. This is one of history's most enduring and popular myths, but it is unequivocally false. The true culprit was a religious fanatic, though the story is more nuanced than that. Here is the full breakdown. The myth is compelling. When Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Egypt in 1798, he brought a team of scholars and artists to document the country's ancient wonders. The story goes that his troops used the Sphinx for target practice, blasting off the nose with a cannonball. Why this is false? Historical evidence. Well before Napoleon's birth, sketches and descriptions of the Sphinx by European travelers clearly show it already without a nose. The Danish explorer. The most famous evidence is the work of Frederick Louis Norden, a Danish naval captain and explorer. He made detailed drawings of the Sphinx during his travels in 1737, over 30 years before Napoleon was even born. His sketches, published in 1755, show the Sphinx noseless. Napoleon's respect. While Napoleon was a conqueror, his expedition was also a scientific one. His savants were there to study and preserve knowledge, not wantonly destroy it. They would have had no motive to damage the monument they were meticulously documenting. The myth likely persists because it fits a convenient narrative of European colonial disrespect for ancient cultures. It's a good story, but it's not history. The credit for the most credible account goes to a 15th century Arab historian named al-Makrizi. According to his texts, the nose was deliberately destroyed in 1378 CE by a Sufi Muslim named Muhammad Saim al-Dahr. The motive: iconoclasm. After the Arab conquest of Egypt, the region became predominantly Muslim. Islam, like Judaism and some strains of Christianity, generally discourages the creation of idols or divine imagery to prevent idolatry. The ancient Egyptian monuments were seen by some strict clerics as relics of a pagan, idol-worshipping civilization. The story. Al-Makrizi writes that upon discovering local peasants making offerings to the Sphinx in the hope of increasing their harvest, Saim al-Dahr was enraged. He saw this as shirk, the sin of idolatry. To desecrate the idol and put a stop to this practice, he vandalized it, with the nose being a primary target. This act of religiously motivated destruction is known as iconoclasm. The aftermath. According to the story, Saim al-Dahr was subsequently arrested for vandalism and hanged. His story aligns perfectly with known historical patterns of iconoclasm in the region. While Saim al-Dahr is the prime suspect, the complete truth might involve multiple factors. Natural erosion. The Sphinx is made of limestone, a relatively soft rock. It has been exposed to thousands of years of wind, sand, humidity, and occasional flooding from the Nile. This erosion naturally weakens the structure. It's highly probable that the nose, a protruding and fragile feature, was already severely weakened by the time Saim al-Dahr arrived. His vandalism might have been the final act that dislodged it, rather than the sole cause of its destruction. Earlier vandalism. Could someone else have done it earlier? It's possible. Some have theorized that it could have been damaged by earlier rulers of Egypt, perhaps during the Roman or even Pharaonic periods, but there is no textual or archaeological evidence to support this. The account of al-Makrizi remains the only written historical record we have that points to a specific event and perpetrator. This is a more fringe alternative theory with no academic support, but it adds a layer of mystery. Some suggest the nose was not broken off but was instead a separate, more valuable piece, perhaps made of a different, harder stone like obsidian or even gold, that was pried off and stolen for its material value. Proponents of this theory sometimes link it to the idea of a canopic jar, or a sacred relic that was housed within the nose. However, there is zero archaeological or historical evidence to support this. The construction techniques of the Sphinx indicate that the entire head, including the nose, was carved from a single limestone outcrop. It was not a separate piece, so the mystery is largely solved. The loss of the Sphinx's nose was not the act of a European general, but rather a dramatic episode in the long and complex relationship between the people of Egypt and the ancient monuments that have always surrounded them. It was a story of religious fervor clashing with ancient tradition, resulting in an act of vandalism that forever changed the face of one of history's most iconic statues.